Could one of boxing's greatest champions actually step into the ring with a YouTuber turned boxer? The mere thought of Canelo Alvarez, a seasoned professional with an incredible record, facing off against Jake Paul, who built his fame outside of the boxing world, seems almost unbelievable. However, emerging reports suggest that this fight may actually be in the works. According to various sources, Canelo and Jake Paul have allegedly reached an agreement to fight in May. If true, this matchup would serve as a warm-up for Canelo ahead of his highly anticipated title defense against Terence Crawford on September 13 at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. The details regarding weight class and number of rounds remain unclear, yet the implications of such a fight have already sent shockwaves throughout the boxing community. With an impressive February 2, 62 record, Canelo Alvarez is not known for taking part in exhibition fights. This has led many to believe that if he were to fight Jake Paul, it would be a legitimate professional bout rather than a staged spectacle. Given Jake Paul's massive social media following, boasting 23.6 million Instagram followers and 20.6 million YouTube subscribers, the fight is expected to generate immense pay-per-view interest. In fact, some analysts predict it could even surpass Canelo's scheduled September showdown with Terence Crawford in terms of sales. On the other hand, Crawford, despite his undeniable boxing prowess, does not command the same level of mainstream attention as Paul. His last pay-per-view fight against Israil Madrimov on August 3 reportedly drew between 75,000 and 100,000 buys, a significantly lower number compared to what a fight against Jake Paul could bring. Some speculate that without the involvement of major financial backers like Turki Al-Sheikh, a Canelo vs Crawford fight might not have been financially justifiable. Still, fans and experts alike are divided on the legitimacy of a potential Canelo vs Jake Paul fight. Many refuse to believe that Canelo would risk his reputation by fighting someone widely considered an unproven boxer. Yet, in a recent interview with TMZ Sports, Canelo himself hinted that if the financial reward was substantial enough, he might be open to the possibility. Given the monetary allure of such a high-profile matchup, it would not be entirely shocking if Canelo decided to step into the ring with Jake Paul. Reports claim that the fight agreement is already in place and that the event will be co-promoted by Canelo Promotions, MVP Promotions, and Premier Boxing Champions PBC. Jake Paul, for his part, has continued to build his boxing career, recently securing an 8-round unanimous decision victory over 59-year-old Mike Tyson in Arlington, Texas, on November 15. Despite his critics, Paul has shown improvement as a boxer, but would he truly stand a chance against Canelo Alvarez? It is undeniable that a fight between Canelo and Jake Paul would draw massive viewership. Many would tune in simply to watch Jake Paul lose, believing that he has coasted through low-risk fights while capitalizing on his social media influence to boost pay-per-view sales. Critics argue that since Canelo's defeat to Dimitri Bivol on May 7, 2022, he has not taken on a truly high-stakes challenge. However, if he were to fight Paul, the nature of the matchup could spark renewed interest in his career. While there is no concrete proof that this fight is a done deal, the speculation has gained enough traction to warrant serious discussion. Boxing commentator Wade Plum has voiced his thoughts on the matter, expressing surprise that such a fight would happen so soon. "I thought if this was ever going to happen, it would be years from now," he wrote on social media, reacting to the news. "But in 3 months, while Canelo is still a sitting champ, if this is real, it's the last thing anyone would expect right now." Plum also noted that numerous reputable journalists and analysts are talking about the fight, which could mean that there is some truth behind the rumors. "Could be a bad source or a purposeful bait, but this isn't something reporters just make up," he added, emphasizing that the media would not take the claim seriously if it were completely baseless. Meanwhile, renowned MMA journalist Ariel Helwani has also commented on the speculation. On the February 4 episode of his show, Helwani appeared to acknowledge the reports without outright confirming them. He did not dismiss the possibility that the fight might be a deliberate hoax or a negotiating tactic, but his willingness to discuss the topic suggests that there could be some merit to the claims. Given Helwani's reputation for being well connected in the combat sports industry, his take on the situation carries significant weight. Many remain skeptical about Jake Paul's ability to compete against a boxer of Canelo's caliber. Despite Paul's attempts to prove himself in the ring, he has largely built his record by facing older or less experienced opponents, allowing him to capitalize on strategic matchmaking. Facing Canelo would present an entirely different level of competition, one that many believe he is not ready for. For some, the only real intrigue in this potential fight lies in whether or not Canelo would intentionally extend the bout for entertainment purposes. Otherwise, many anticipate that it would be a one-sided contest that ends quickly, with Paul struggling to keep up with the speed, power, and skill of an elite-level boxer. If this fight does come to fruition, would it be a legitimate contest or just another financial move by both parties? While fans continue to speculate, one thing is certain: if this fight happens, it will be one of the biggest spectacles in boxing history. Whether it's for the right reasons or not remains to be seen. What if the most unexpected boxing match of the year were to take place? Could a YouTuber-turned-boxer stand a chance against one of the greatest fighters of this generation? These are the questions that have been swirling around as speculation continues to mount over the rumored matchup between Jake Paul and Canelo Alvarez. Recent discussions in the boxing world have revolved around Canelo's choice of opponents. Some fans argue that his recent fights against Edgar Berlanga and Jamie Munguia were carefully selected to avoid criticism. This theory suggests that Canelo is strategically facing less challenging fighters to maintain his dominance while waiting for a more significant bout later in the year. Although the fight between Canelo and Jake Paul has not yet been officially confirmed, the speculation is reaching new heights. Many believe that Canelo sees this as an opportunity to secure a lucrative payday and keep himself active before taking on the formidable Terence Crawford in September. While a bout with Crawford is expected to draw significant attention, it may not hold the same weight as a true championship clash. If this fight happens, one of the biggest questions is how it will impact Canelo's future. Would a closer-than-expected fight with Paul lessen the anticipation for his September showdown with Crawford, or would it, in some way, make the event even bigger? Some believe that Canelo is simply too big for Crawford and that the fight might not be as competitive as expected. However, the unpredictability of boxing always leaves room for surprises. Jake Paul, on the other hand, has built an empire through his ventures into boxing. With an estimated net worth of $100 million, his ability to generate massive paydays stems from his enormous social media following. Whether he is fighting former UFC legends like Anderson Silva or taking on aging icons such as Mike Tyson, his fanbase continues to tune in, eager to watch his journey. While many may doubt his ability to stand toe-to-toe with an elite boxer like Canelo, there's no denying that his presence in the sport has brought significant attention to boxing. Respected boxing analyst Edu Oladipo weighed in on the rumors, emphasizing the enormous gap in skill between Paul and Alvarez. He acknowledged Jake Paul's impressive success in boxing but stressed that Canelo remains one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world. Oladipo pointed out that Canelo has only lost to elite competitors such as Dimitri Bivol and Floyd Mayweather, proving his status as one of the sport's greats. This fight doesn't last around if Canelo wants to end it quickly, Oladipo stated. If it goes beyond the first round, you'd have to think Canelo is carrying Jake. He went on to say that, while Paul deserves credit for stepping into the ring with real fighters, Canelo is in an entirely different league. Despite Paul's determination, many believe he would stand no chance against Canelo. Unlike past opponents such as Silva and Tyson, who were well past their prime, Alvarez remains an active and dominant champion. Entering the ring against Canelo would be a bold and courageous move for Jake Paul, but it could also be a grave mistake. Yet, Financial incentives could play a significant role in making this fight a reality. Jake Paul's recent fight with Mike Tyson was streamed on Netflix, drawing enormous viewership numbers. That level of engagement cannot be ignored. Given the potential revenue at stake, it's possible that both fighters could see the value in making this spectacle happen. Paul has openly expressed his goal of fighting Canelo, and if this is his opportunity, he is unlikely to back down. A bout between Canelo and Paul could dramatically reshape the boxing landscape. While traditional boxing fans may scoff at the idea, there is no doubt that it would bring mainstream attention to the sport. Furthermore, Jake Paul recently hinted at a return to the ring in July, further fueling speculation about his next opponent. The influencer-turned-boxer took to social media to tease an upcoming fight in New York, marking his first official appearance since his blockbuster match against Mike Tyson in November. This development complicates matters. If Jake Paul fights in July, a clash with Canelo in May seems improbable, especially considering that Canelo is reportedly gearing up for a September showdown with Terence Crawford. If Paul truly wants to take on Canelo, he may need to rearrange his schedule and forego any summer fights. The timeline raises concerns about how Alvarez would approach such a matchup. Breaking from his traditional schedule, which involves fighting in May and September during Mexican holiday weekends, would be a major deviation. Nevertheless, if the financial incentives align, it may be a risk worth taking for both parties. Paul has been vocal about his ambition to take on bigger challenges, sharing videos of himself training rigorously in Puerto Rico. His enthusiasm is clear, and he appears more determined than ever to prove himself against the best. However, boxing purists remain skeptical, questioning whether Paul truly belongs in the same ring as a pound-for-pound great like Canelo. Nikasa Badarayan, Jake Paul's advisor, previously hinted that the fight could happen but emphasized that several hurdles remain. "We just put on the biggest combat sports event since the advent of cable," Badarayan said, referring to Paul's Netflix success. "No matter what fighter you are, you have to look at that and say this is a special moment." However, he also noted that neither Jake Paul nor Canelo Alvarez necessarily needs this fight. While Paul thrives off attention and viral moments, Canelo does not require a match with Paul to generate revenue or cement his legacy. "The money isn't the hurdle," Badarayan said. "It has to be more than just that. It has to be about making the world stop and pay attention to boxing." That sentiment captures the core debate surrounding this potential fight. Would it be good for boxing, or would it be a sideshow that detracts from the legitimacy of the sport? Some argue that a spectacle like this would overshadow genuine championship bouts, while others believe that bringing more eyes to boxing is beneficial, even if it comes in an unconventional way. Canelo's 2024 schedule is already shaping up to be one of the busiest and most financially rewarding years of his career. If he were to take on both Jake Paul and Terence Crawford, he could solidify his status as one of the biggest stars in boxing history. However, his primary focus remains on legacy. Facing Crawford is a crucial step in that journey, as a victory would further enhance his standing as an all-time great. Meanwhile, Jake Paul continues to seek legitimacy in the boxing world. He has already proven that he can draw massive audiences, but a fight with Canelo would be his toughest test by far. If he were to somehow survive against Alvarez even in a losing effort, it could be seen as a victory in itself, elevating his reputation in the sport. Regardless of the outcome, the possibility of this fight taking place has generated enormous buzz. The mere idea of a YouTube sensation stepping into the ring with a four-division world champion is enough to spark endless debates among fans and analysts alike. Would it be a competitive fight? Unlikely. But would it be an unforgettable event? Absolutely. For now, fans must wait for official confirmation. Will Canelo take the bait and give Jake Paul the fight he desperately wants, or will Alvarez focus solely on legacy-defining matchups against elite boxers? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain: if this fight happens, it will be one of the most talked about events in recent boxing history. That's all for today's breakdown. If you enjoyed this discussion, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell icon so you never miss an update on the latest boxing news. Stay tuned for more.